Hi humans. About the game of life, everything about the gameplay, okay? And very intricate details about quantum reality and how the game of life is etherically set up, or how the universe works. Hi, my name is Jovan. Welcome to Avatar Academy. You are consciousness that has no shape and form. You are incarnated here into probably a human vessel if you're watching this video. So, what is happening? Everything that you experience, your body, your emotions, your thoughts, and the multiplayer arena that is this earth, this world, is happening on the screen of consciousness. So to reverse engineer this experience, we need to understand that again and again. This is a screen and you're watching me, and now the screen has depth and I'm in the screen, and it's a moving reality, right? It's an animation, aka life. So in the baseline of this reality, you are who? You are consciousness that is the screen at the same time. So the consciousness expands itself into the screen. The same agency, alright, that creates itself to be consciousness and to be screen would be God, which is not something that can be, well, God is interesting concept, okay, because everything that you see is God, like colors, elements, objects, the screen, the totality of this reality, and the consciousness that is experiencing the elements. It's all God. It's all a manifestation of God. Okay? But God is also the source of the agency of consciousness and of all of the elements in the screen, like these different elements. So God is like a creator of all of this, the experiencer of all of this, and all of this. Okay. Now, okay, it's also great to say that in human experience, you have the creator, the observer, and the son of God, which is the body, or right? And so the reality is also the extended projection of what you are as God. You're connected to the God mind, that is the logos, that are all the principles that you see reflected into this reality, as the closet, the painting, the cap, the sound, the eye, the word. So everything is reflected from the mind of God into the external perception of reality. So even the taxi driver, the pharmacist, the policeman, the president, king, maybe, everything that we have in our society is a reflection of the God mind. So you can understand how God mind works if you deeply observe how family unit works, if it's not dysfunctional and distorted. You can see how God works if you look at the kingdom, if it's not dysfunctional and distorted. Unfortunately, right now, we cannot learn so much without going inside, because outside has become distorted. Why? The collective, the multiplayer arena, has been a playground for a long time that was like very explorative, very experimental. So there was like a lot of chaos and entropy, trying different concepts and creating a lot of artwork. But now this artwork needs to be integrated into the Godhead. So we're going back into what's called the second coming of Christ. It's coming of that awareness of the absolute self into every intricate detail of reality and what has been played out. So you, as an individual, have to understand that everything is integrated here. You are God consciousness, the observer, the creator, and also the player inside of the screen. Another thing that you have to see for yourself, not intellectually understand that I'm saying this, but also like see for yourself that this is a screen. This depth, this width, and this height is simulated. And so the body and the world around is simulated. So like a video game. Now within the screen, from you as a one consciousness to become many and play all this different stuff, you have to divide yourself into 10, 12 players. When you divide yourself into 12 players, now you have different people. And these 12 can divide themselves into 12 more, now you have a lot more people. It's a fractal. All of a sudden, they multiply, and there's a whole lot of people, but there's like originally one person, it's God. The God becomes 12 people, then 12 people become 12 tribes of people, then all these tribes, they mix, and so this goes on. So on a horizontal layer, on this multiplayer reality, there's a lot of people. There's not actually that much people, there's just one person. But that one person has 12 sub-personalities. Each of these 12 have many, many children, and they have children together, so now there are many, many tribes. But you're all the time seeing yourself as an individual, okay? You're putting up a person, and by a soul contract, if I'm going to be playing one of the 12, then other people are going to play the 12 other people, and then these roles can change, right? Like I'll be the mother, and then I'll be the baby, and then I'll be the father, and then I'll be I don't know, the uncle. And then I'm going to be baby's baby, and then I'm going to be the grandfather and whatnot. So actually, throughout life, you're just going and like you're putting different identities on based on your gameplay, or gameplay memory is also called karma. So karma is your gameplay memory, all the roles that you played that were complemented with other roles. So it's like you and me, we have a personal karma, but now we're like creating something together. We're playing different roles. Let's say in this role I might be teacher. You might be somebody like listener. What is this called when you on YouTube you have viewers or subscribers, something like this. So I am transmitting the teaching. Now you can see this on another level. You are talking to yourself. It's all God talking to itself. So somebody's talking, the other is listening, then the other is talking, and then I'm listening. It can go instantly. This can be a sort of like, there doesn't need to be memory of the gameplay and the roles played, because it's instantaneous exchange between two individual representations of Christ or Godhead. In that case, there's no karma. If you go under the veil of the illusion that you become this separate person and now you're playing your role, then you will have to integrate and transcend that role. So in one life you were a mother, then you have to integrate that and transcend them to become a baby, to become a father, to become a different role, right? So you need to have the chain of experiences, because you are the one that divided itself into many. And so like each of my fingers will go into next lifetime becoming this finger. So this little pinky is going to be this guy, and this guy is going to be that guy. And so there's a succession. And then each perspective of each finger gets to see the perspective of each other finger, if that makes sense. And also my left eye needs to become my right eye, and the right eye needs to become the left eye. And in the third eye, they're all one eye. So one perspective makes itself two perspectives, makes itself 12 perspectives, 13 actually. So this is a Christ. It's a monad, masculine and feminine. They are like the yin and the yang, they're one. And then out of each one you have boom, right? Expansion of 5 more, which makes this 12 in total. So integration of these roles is like finishing those gameplays, those roles, and so you are also then what? Neutralizing the energetic memory. And this is basically called enlightenment. So it means that you went through the perspective of this finger, this finger, this finger, this finger, this finger, and then all of these fingers, and then these guys, which is divine masculine, divine feminine, you're coming back to the pure self, to consciousness, being like, and that was an interesting game. So you're neutralizing the accumulated gameplay memory and the roles. Now, whenever you are immersed in a role, you feel like your body, you feel like your first person, you feel like your ego, because you're really annoyed with, like, you are this Pinky and you're really annoyed by this guy. I really hate you. Now I love you. We are lovers forever in eternity. You will be my wife in marriage. I love you, Sonny. So this is what the fingers are doing individually, right? We want to experience romance. We want to experience somebody stealing our Discman. I don't know why I said that. Probably some of the gameplay. Somebody stole your compact CD player. Somebody had to come, a different finger had to come and steal this guy's compact CD player, right? It's funny. Okay, so the screen, we have the screen. That's numero uno, that's the basis of reality. Okay, so now you want to remember what's actually happening, and once you complete your gameplay and your roles and you're coming into your enlightened reality, and you still have a functional body and there are no more roles. All right. So maybe I want to give you a real life experience. So what I did, like in the last 7-year cycle, I came to this emptiness of roles. And so I didn't have any role. I was just consciousness with one body and no gameplay. I felt like a plant. I was just like a plant. And then I came into the game of life again, and I created contracts with based on my choices and what was offered in the multiplayer. I created contracts and played certain games, and I was just exploring like what can life be and how can I create co-create with other experiencers in the multiplayer arena. And it was a big flop for me. It was a big fail because I really did not consider the rules and the contracts. Usually life is very fast, dynamic, the human experience, and you get all these contracts already solidified before you enter your incarnation. So it's kind of like playing out for you, right? And like a movie, it's playing out for you based on a pre-made contract, and that's actually good because it takes like a lot of awareness and contemplation to go into like chakra 8 and 9 and like edit the contracts and then come back into first player and experience the contracts. But then if you're doing this all the time, then also the physical reality and the script is non-linear. It's always shifting, so it's really confusing because I was seeing same people and they would be just changing shapes, and like literally I would get a different rendering of the same people. They would show up also being in a different character, being in a different script, because all of the persons, all of the characters are sort of a screen, or like it's like a pranic smoke and mirrors that you're experiencing in your movie. So whatever the people are showing up as and whatever they're saying to you is just based on what you wanted to experience for your own individual soul expansion and learning, and everybody else is a side or extra in your movie, and they're just reflecting you your script so you can understand yourself, because you are complex. You are the God mind, you're this universe embodied in one little avatar, and you're going around. So you have a lot of stories to cover to really unveil yourself. And then even when you unveil that you are the universal one that is kind of in this theatrical joke, and you awaken, right, like spiritually awaken, or whatever, and we'll call it enlightenment, if you want to, then you also have like still million things or ways where you can flower, like to understand this or that and apply that to this art or this teaching or that teaching or this study or that study. Everything in this reality is infinitely deep. Even like the smallest thing that you can start to like analyze here is so intricate and infinitely deep. This is just a coin. It's a 2 dinar coin, but now I could make a YouTube channel talking about this coin forever. Like literally, I can go on right now and never shut up about this coin, which I'm not going to go into that. Right now, I want to stick to my topic, okay? But it's fun and it's inviting because like I feel like already like synaptic portal just opening here and just like giving me like gazillion information just based on this stuff and where this came from and what the money represents and how it was created and where this coin been, because this coin traveled through the multiplayer game like a lot before it came to me in my hand. So you can read all this information etherically from the coin, and then from the also idea of the coin that is stored in the God mind. What are coins? What do they represent? And they also have this functioning in the God mind. So yeah, I need to let go of the coin. It's too shiny and kind of like I want to talk about it. Can't help myself. Let's go back to basics. The screen. So you are in a video game. So you chose everything. So now the choices that you pre-applied to your gameplay are giving you sort of like a runaround so you can actually unveil yourself. So if we come to this point where you can observe that you are awareness, that your consciousness is projecting the screen, projecting the awareness, then bravo, you're enlightened, right? So now we want to know how the quantum screen works. How the quantum screen works. Because if you played the game, and this should be probably seeing all the roles and completing your karmic or gameplay contract with other 12 people that were showing up. They weren't just 12 physical people, right? But they could be showing up as different people in your reality, but channeling the 12 roles, because there's only 12 roles in total. And then, okay, there are these sub roles or sub personalities of these 12. They're the children roles. So there are many more roles actually, but they're all children of the main 12 characters, if that makes sense. The 12 archetypes, they have 144 children, so there's a lot of different roles. There's like so there's like all possible roles, but they're just made of 144 different animations or melodies that you can load into a puppet. If this was an animation puppet, you can animate me with I am alive, Pinocchio, I'm alive. So, okay. So now you know it's a screen. And this is post-enlightenment curriculum for you guys. You know it's a screen. You are this avatar appearing on the screen. You are also the consciousness, universal one, observing the screen. You are the screen. You are in a multiplayer game. It means it's a big canvas. It's an infinite canvas. Even the Earth plane itself is infinite canvas. There's no actual, like, it's like an open map, right? Without end. It does not stop. I know it's like not a flat earth theory or like round earth theory. It's just actually there is no physical actually boundary to the map. Let's just say it like this. I don't want to go into explaining this. There's just no physical boundary, so there's infinite land. It's an infinite plane. Earth is an infinite plane. Swell. Now, so it's also a screen. Now, what are you doing with the screen? You're programming the screen. Computers, they are also a reflection of how the God mind works. It has folders, rooms, subfolders, and you take a blank piece of screen, then you write a code, and the code explains how the screen is going to work. And then when you build an app, you have user agreement with all the users, how the users are going to behave and interact with that app. And so there are apps that are really popular because everybody is like having fun and exchanging, becoming an Instagram avatar in that game, becoming a Facebook avatar in that game, becoming a human avatar on the land of Earth, becoming a Sims avatar or Magic the Gathering or whatever game you play, like World of Warcraft avatar or prince or hero, I don't know, whatever. Right? So each time you are consciousness, you go into a container that is a game board. Basically, Earth is a game board. You incarnate into a game board, you became an avatar. You go to play Monopoly with your friends on a Monopoly night. Guess what? You become the little plastic dude that's going based on the rule set. You're going around the board and you're like opening different. You're stepping into different containers and you're following the rules. And so also there are rules for this. It's like, hey, you have to realize in the game of life, you have to realize that you are one player. That's everyone, right? That the one player is playing everyone. Then you see through the roles or karma, the gameplay memory of your roles. Then you integrate and transcend that costumes or energetic memory of those costumes. Now you are who? Now you're universal one. But at the same time, you're outside your consciousness, pure self. You're also inside of the game. So you're also a player in a multiplayer arena that has rules. So by understanding the rules, you are then expanding your potentiality to play, enjoy the other people game boards, whatever they created, everything is game board. Traffic, how cars and pedestrians go and like the lights, it's a game board. How people go into any building, any institution, any business institution, any bar, court, stadium, everything is a game board with specific rules. So you can create your own game boards. They can be real life game boards where actual humans walk and like use them. Or you can make it a game board like Dungeons and Dragons or something with cards and stuff where we sit down and throw dice and pull cards and like battle monsters or whatever. Or you can go into another dimension where there is another server with another quantumly constituted holographic reality where you become Pokemons and then we run together and I'll be Pikachu and you'll be like that guy and then we choo, right? So you can also pull your consciousness out of this simulation and then there's many simulations on the server because the God Mind has infinite rooms, so it's like very complex and infinitely intricate, and I couldn't describe it in 100 lifetimes or whatever. Like there's no way to even finish describing it, but there's a lot of rooms there, and they're arcades. So this is one of the arcades. Or it's a more complex simulation. Maybe it's not just enough to call it arcade. I'm not sure about the words, but it's a simulation. So there are other simulations where you are Shrek and Pokemons and all of this stuff that you see in fantasy, like Teletubbies and all of this stuff that you see on TV in this reality, is a reflection of other universes or other video games in the God mind. Alright, so let me finish, okay, this is going on for a long time. Let me finish this up and I want to give you a cookie. And a cookie is something that is like usable for you to master your wizard reality right now. So let me grab a blank piece of paper here and tell you. As I said, this whole reality, your human world, is happening in a screen. So let's say I put this here. What do you see now, right? Let me see what you see. You see white screen. So this is also called singularity or source, because it's just energy that's not yet been consecrated into any dual potentiality. So there's nothing, it's just one big mass of energy, right? Sometimes people refer to this as source, or I'll just call it screen, right? So it's, you see the screen. Now you see a guy holding a piece of paper, but look, actually I need you to interpret this as source. So this is not a human with a notebook. It is, but at the same time this is source screen. And this is what I'm using to consecrate realities. So let's say I create a circle. Oh, it's not closed. Okay, so I'll close this circle here. So what do I have now? I have now a space inside source, inside God screen. Okay, so this quantum programming or wizardry of magic, what I'm doing here. I have now a unit that is now there. This and this are the same because they have no description. It's just blank source. But this just became a soul, if you will. It became an individual portion of God's screen. So everything has consciousness and energy, right? So this consciousness, energy, God is one the same. You can call it Holy Trinity, the space, the energy, and the consciousness, whatever. But like, it's all one, actually. We just, when we explain it with these terms, we give it a different definition. It's in the essence, in singular essence, it's all one and the same. So now I separated the consciousness energy into a soul, which is individuality. Soul is basically an individuality of this source. Now I can continue to describe this. So it's a container and it's not described. But what I choose to then inscribe into this, so the only thing that is described is that there is a boundary from the rest of the infinite paper here, or source screen. It might seem like I'm like really talking basic stuff here, but this is fundamentals, because I have to go back into fundamentals. We are in a very complex simulation, and we are using these things without really inspecting the basics. A lot of times we're intuitively using the apps, we're using the phone, we're using the language, we're using the grammar, we're using the screen, or the phone screen or computer screen, but not everybody is a coder. Let's say you're coding something in Python, you're using the computer, right? So you see what I'm referencing. I'm referencing base objects, right? So now I'm programming the object. First you give it, it becomes a universe of its own, okay? And then it's programmable. So now whatever you define this to be, it becomes alive with that program. Now also, when you're writing words or letters, you're also adding etheric layers, not just physical paint. And this is not just paper. As I said, this is a quantum, so adding the etheric programming. and you have to understand that etheric programming works quantumly. So actually this being is then consecrated or incarnated. Even though it's just a piece of paper, it can become even a bomb. Like in Naruto, if you ever seen like Naruto Shippuden, I'm watching now. In Naruto, they're throwing these little darts with like pieces of paper. It's a paper bomb, and then the paper just has some Japanese letters, I guess. I don't know which kind, which ones. I'm not familiar with them in this lifetime. But they explode. So there's an exploding paper just based on what is consecrated here. So you have to understand you're programming actually God. This is God code. So anything can appear out of this matter. Molecular stuff can start growing out of the ether. I guess only right now I'm just figuring out that I can like program this circle to kind of like create gold molecules or whatever, and just have a gold mine that is generated out of source. Literally. But I mean, there's so many applications to this that I even haven't realized or even attempted this one. And I'm not even like attempting a whole lot of ideas because they just take time. All these experiments take time. And I might want to share with you some successful attempts. But maybe I'm going to save that for the next episode because, yeah, definitely. So let me go into the next video and then we can like explore the potentials of programming this circle. But at the meantime, I can tell you, you created this whole earth with this whole infinite beings and infrastructure, so you also made it just out of the screen using the baseline principles that were like, circle, square, triangle, and then some numbers and stuff, and then multiplying, copy pasting, iterating that. So it's a very smart also algorithmic progression where you don't have to like work, but you just like create an algorithm and then it multiplies itself, and then you get this whole evolution happening without a lot of work. It's some smart programming. So now you guys are playing already in a very complex reality that was created from source, which is you. So back to basics. What can you do with magic? You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want on top of this pre-built complexity. So we can just go ahead and like lay bricks down in this reality and then create a building. But we can consecrate a building from a piece of paper. Alright, I hope that's interesting. I'll be back.